Before you get on Oprah, you will want to have at least a dozen media appearances, probably more like 100. So I want you to start working now if you want to get on that big national TV show like Oprah or Ellen. How can you get some local media now? If you haven't been on the local news, you will want to do that. This is Page Up with Dr. Angela Lauria, helping you write a nonfiction book that gets clients, drives revenue, and builds credibility. Learn more at pageuppodcast.com. Pet peeve time, everybody. I want to hear your pet peeves, but mine is when people come to me with very little experience, very little media exposure. They are just about to write a book and they say they want to get on Oprah. Oh my God, I hear this almost every day in my job. How do I get on Oprah? I want to write a book so I can get on Oprah. People, Oprah isn't even on the air anymore. How are you still telling me you want that? Whether it is, I want to be on Oprah or I want to be a New York Times bestseller, those are the number two things I hear from people who want a huge stage, but they haven't earned it. So I want to talk to you about how you can be so good they can't ignore you. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what does it take to get on Oprah, whatever that means today. What does it take to be a New York Times bestseller? And what does it take to really get the outcome you want in your heart from your book? Now, the truth is, I know a lot of people who have been on Oprah with their book, some of them my clients, some of them my friends, and almost no one that I know says that that was the deciding factor that solved all of their problems. In fact, being on Oprah, for many people that I know, created a lot of new problems. So I think when we have this fantasy, when people come to me and they say, I want to be a New York Times bestseller, I want to be on Oprah, what they're really saying is they want to be saved. So I'm going to tell you the old way. We're going to walk through the steps. How could you actually make it on Oprah? And if you want to go deeper on this, I'm also going to put in the show notes chapter 1 of my book, The Incubated Author, which walks you through this in even more detail. But then I want to get underneath it. I'll tell you what it'll take to get on Oprah, Ellen, whatever it is now. But I'm also going to get underneath that desire to be rescued, the desire to be saved, that I just don't know how many people that story serves. Now, I've been thinking a lot about Oprah lately as I've been spending so much time with Marianne Williamson, and Marianne actually has that story. She tells it very powerfully, but she has that being discovered, that diamond in the rough story when she got a call from Oprah. And the way she describes it, she always says it this way. She's like, she seemed like a nice lady. I love that way of thinking about Oprah. Marianne wrote A Return to Love. She had been lecturing on A Course in Miracles for 4 years before that book came out. And she got the call from Oprah, and it really did change her life. Now, of course, it, like everything, created a new set of problems. But what I always think is interesting, and I don't even think Marianne always recognizes it as much as I do, being in my job, is just how prepared she was for that call. She always says, I wasn't waiting for Oprah to call. I wasn't trying to get on the Oprah show. I wasn't trying to be a New York Times bestseller. I didn't even know what that really meant. That wasn't in my vision. I wanted to write a good book. That's how she describes that experience. But she actually was quite prepared. So I want you to think about this. If you're somebody who wants to get on Oprah, wants to be a New York Times bestseller, think about this. Marianne lectured on the material in her book for 4 years every, I think it was it's Tuesday night to me, but every week she lectured on this material. So if you think about that, that's 200 times that she spoke on this topic. And she spoke many times other than that, but that was like at least 200 times she was speaking. Have you given 200 speeches? Because if you think about where you are versus where Marianne was when Oprah called, are you prepared for the call from Oprah? She knew this material inside and out, upside down, could do it in her sleep. I've done, there's an event that I have done 100 times, just 100. And I did it once a month, not once a week. And I will tell you, you could wake me up from a dead sleep and I could present that material. That is how well you need to know your material before you can even want to be a New York Times bestseller, before you can even want Oprah to call. You have to have a body of work. Now, I'm not saying it has to be 4 years and 200 lectures, but it's got to be something like that. Maybe it's 20 years of work. But if you just discovered something, and a lot of times people will come to me and they just discovered a technique or just got trained, you can still write a book, by the way. We have lots of people that have made over $100,000 from a book on something that they were newer to. But if you're actually saying, I want to get on Oprah, then you better be saying, I want to be the best in the world. And for sure, Marianne, even when she went on Oprah, which was at 40 years old, was the best in the world. It remains the best in the world as a spiritual guide and leader. And particularly around A Course in Miracles, there's no one better. So you have to at least want that. So if you think about, let's just say you want to write a book on dog training. If you think about all the dog trainers in the world, let's just say there's, 200,000 dog trainers in the world. If you were a producer on Oprah, would you want a brand new dog trainer? Or if we were to stack rank all 200,000 dog trainers, would you want the best dog trainer? So whatever your area of expertise is, if you have that desire, I want you to focus that desire onto being so good they can't ignore you. Now, when we come back from the break, I'm going to walk you through the steps to actually getting on Oprah with the caveat that you have to have that level of experience that would make a producer from Oprah or whatever the show is want to call you. And then you have to have the experience that would make you, your appearance actually good. I will walk you through the steps when we come back, and then I'm going to take you on a little journey of what I think this is really about for you and how to get something even better than Oprah. So stay tuned. Okay, so there are 2 ways you can get on the Oprah show. There is the Marianne way, which is, just be in alignment with source and wait for the phone to ring. And there is the hustle way, the way that there are steps. There are no steps for the Marianne way, although I do recommend it. So A Course in Miracles says there is no order of difficulty in miracles. You can get on the Oprah show by the right amount of prayer and alignment, but let's say you want to do it the old-fashioned hustle way. These are the steps. So the first one we talked about, which is be Oprah ready. So you have to have not just the content, not just the experience, but you have to actually have done media before. So this is a good thing you can do right now You will want, before you get on Oprah, you will want to have at least a dozen media appearances, probably more like 100. So I want you to start working now if you want to get on that big national TV show like Oprah or Ellen. How can you get some local media now? If you haven't been on the local news, you will want to do that. So ask yourself, how can I get on the local news? Now you can hire a PR person or you can reach out yourself, which can be even more effective, especially using local media. But you want to have an area of expertise. You want to have some examples of people that you have helped. You want to have a following and a body of work so that when you go to that local reporter, they've got something to look at. Some people call it a press kit, but you'll want to have articles. You'll want to have blog posts, Medium articles. You'll want to have case studies, clients. You'll want to make sure that you have some credentials and training. So whether you're a doctor or certified life coach or in certain associations. Now, you don't need all of these things, but you definitely need some. If a local reporter is going to put you on their news station, they want to make sure that you are a credible, quantifiable expert. So writing a book is a great way to do that. That will definitely help. I think a great step number one for getting local media is getting a book done. That will help a reporter know that you are safe to book. Also, doing your own videos for social media will help give you confidence. Maybe paying a PR person, a media trainer. Those can all happen after you get your book so you can get some placements. But our step number one on the path to Oprah or a big national TV show is getting at least 12 local TV shows, TV appearances. At least 12, I recommend 100. So don't go for Oprah until you've actually done that. Now, does that mean Oprah has never had a guest with no TV experience? No, of course, there have been some guests that don't have that experience. It's not going to be you. So I don't actually know. I've never asked Marianne how many TV interviews she did before she got on Oprah. That would be an interesting question. I will ask her that. But I bet it wasn't 100. I really do think it wasn't 100. But I can't teach you that method, right? So yes, you can pray and there can be a miracle and maybe you will get called by a national television program with no other exposure. But it's unlikely. If you look at most of the guests on most national TV shows, almost all of them have had multiple media appearances on many, many different programs. So you are probably not going to be the one person that gets on national TV with no experience. Let's not build towards that. Okay, the next thing you need to do is you need to really understand the shows you want to be on. If you want to be on the local news first, you got to watch the local news so you can see what types of pitches that they are taking, what types of stories they're doing. If you want to someday be on the Today Show or Good Morning America, one of the national morning shows, what are the local morning shows doing? I'm going to tell you, most of the people that end up on the national morning shows have been on a local morning show first. So who is the new Oprah for you? What is the national show you want to be on, and what is that person doing? And you want to make sure that your audience will care. So here's the thing. You got to watch TV. You got to watch these shows. You have to watch, or if it's radio or podcast, listen to the shows you want to be on. If you are not willing to listen to them, and by the way, it does take a lot of time. If you are not willing to watch or listen to these shows, you really can't expect to be on them. Just saying. All right, and the third thing that you need to do if you're going to get on a major national TV show is learn how to pitch. Learn how to pitch. This is a skill. You can learn it. Even if you're going to hire a PR person, which can get expensive, you should understand a pitch. And I always like to say this, local girl writes book is not a pitch. The news cannot put on, hey, Sally from Wallingford wrote a book. That's not a news story. So you have to relate what you teach and what you do to something going on in the news. So for instance, right now we're coming up on flu season. You might want to do a pitch on how has all the extra hand washing and mask wearing affected flu contagion. Or maybe it's, should you still get a flu shot during coronavirus? It needs to be brief. It needs to be clear. It needs to be to the point, and the timing is important. You can't do something related to the flu without talking about coronavirus right now. You can't do something related to the flu in July. Well, maybe you could if you related it to something that was happening in July. So your pitch has to be very specific to the timing. I can't do a what to buy for the holidays pitch in July unless the pitch was why you should do your holiday shopping when nobody else is, or now is the right time to do your holiday shopping. And you have to have some specific reason why. Learning how to pitch is an art form. And if you don't understand it, your media person, when you have one, will drive you nuts. So if you want to get on a major show, you've got two options. You can pray and hope for a miracle. That works for some people. See Marianne Williamson for details. Or you can get Oprah ready. And the way you get Oprah ready is by focusing on your expertise, getting on the local news, watching and identifying what shows you want to be on, and really learning how to pitch. Now, I want you to think about all that. We're going to go on a break, and it's going to give you time to consider how long it will take you to write a book, hire a PR person, do 100 local media appearances, learn how to pitch, watch all these TV shows. How long will it take you to be Oprah ready? I want you to think about that on the break, because when we come back, I want to throw in a little plot twist. And we're back. I want to take you on a ride. Hopefully during the break you realized, wow, that is a lot of work to get in a television program. And really, what are you going to get from all that work? I want you to explore the desire under the desire. You want to be on Oprah. You want to be a New York Times bestseller because you really want something else. What is that? And is there an easier way to get it? My contention is the other thing you want is for someone to do the heavy lifting for you. You want to be saved. You want to be rescued. You want to be discovered the way Marianne Williamson was discovered. And that's a nice dream. I mean, Marianne was catapulted to international fame by being on Oprah, and that happens for a few people. But do you sit at home on your couch and wish to win the lottery? Do you sit at home on your couch and just hope to be discovered, or that some secret relative will leave you $1 million? The thing is that what we want here is the comfort of not having to do the actual work. And when you drop that desire for that comfort, and when you get attached to doing the work to get the results, your chance of being on Oprah actually goes up. Your chance of being a New York Times bestseller goes up, and it won't even matter. Last year, I made it on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list, and it was nice, but it wasn't the thing that established my self-worth. The hundreds of clients whose lives I've changed, the team that I've built, the work that we do here at the Author Incubator, that's what fills me up. And becoming a New York Times bestseller or getting national media, I had a feature film made about me. All of those things are just cherries on top. Instead of waiting to be discovered, I did the work, and that's what I teach our authors. You can do this without needing those gatekeepers. That's what's happened in the last 20 years. The internet has created this era of disintermediation where buyers and sellers, viewers and creators, consumers and developers are connected directly. Being discovered by Oprah was really important in 1994, 92, when Marianne was first on Oprah, because it was before the internet. How would people know Marianne? But where do most of her followers follow her now? She has as many people following her on Twitter as there were, directly, with no Oprah in between, as there were watching her on the Oprah show. Oprah was an amazing gatekeeper. But times have changed, and your mission now is to learn how to connect directly with an audience. This is why having a book is so powerful, because we can get your book into thousands of people's hands. This is why having a YouTube channel or a podcast is so powerful, because we can take those readers and turn them into subscribers, and you can develop your relationship. One of the top YouTubers, who I don't necessarily agree with politically, is that guy PewDiePie. And PewDiePie has over 100 million followers, subscribers on YouTube, 106 million YouTube subscribers. That is far more people than ever watched an Oprah show, I can tell you. And it's directly PewDiePie to his viewers. One of my favorite people to watch these days on TikTok is Charli D'Amelio, 16-year-old, maybe 17 now, from Norwalk, Connecticut. She has 83 million followers. Probably by the time you listen to this, it'll be 100 million. Who knows? It seems to grow by a million every 2 days. If you haven't checked her out on TikTok, check her out. She's amazing. So there was no arbiter. There was no Oprah between me and Charli D'Amelio. There's no Oprah between PewDiePie and the people who like his message. In fact, Oprah had about 5 million viewers, maybe 2 to 5 million subscribers. And so that's right now what you can be building towards. What you want is to be heard by more people. What you think you want is to be discovered. But that desire to be discovered is keeping you from doing the work required to build a following directly. Look, you can still fight to get media. I told you all the steps. Those are the steps. I can recommend people that you can hire. You can Google. They're all still out there. All the media trainers, all the PR people, they are trying to figure out what the hell to do, but they are still out there. But I think if your goal is to make a bigger impact, to reach more people, or to make more money, there are many faster ways. Don't fall into this trap of wanting to be discovered. I want you to press page up yourself, not wait for somebody to lean over your shoulder and press the buttons for you. You have so much potential, and it all starts with making the commitment to being the best in the world at what you want to do. That is step number one, no matter what. But do you want to wait to be discovered? Or do you want to go out there and create your own platform right now? Write a book, get some followers, make some videos, and that will grow over time. It's a much better investment than investing in getting on the local TV, which, by the way, who's watching TV anyway these days? Times are changing. Have you caught up with the shift? Because that is where I would recommend focusing your time. That's what we do at the Author Incubator. So I am so glad you tuned into this episode. I want you to remember we're here because we're changing the world one book at a time. If you're ready to build your business with a book, take my free class at pageuppodcast.com.